Well, hi everybody. I said before that I was going to make a homemade background holder, and I thought I'd do a video explaining exactly how I did that, what it cost, and what it entailed in making it. So quick demonstration, or as you can see, this is what I come up with. Basically, it's a simple system. It's a couple of hooks hanging from the ceiling with some light duty chain that comes down onto a double-ended hook that is connected to what's considered a post end for a fence railing. Now this railing comes about 10 foot 8 from the store, and it has a tapered end on one side so that it can fit inside of the next section of fence rail. So I took my Sawzall and I cut that post off so that it was the 1¼ inch diameter on both ends. Took what they call an end cap and used JB Weld to secure the cap to the pole so that I don't ever have to worry about the hook pulling itself off of the pole. Quick demonstration on the actual way that I would use it. I'm just going to use a little towel because I don't want to have a great big background here. But basically, you start at the end. These are 2-inch spring clamps that I got. If you're using a 10-foot background, I found that 4 works great. One at the end, a third, 2/3, and at the other end. But basically, just take the background, wrap it around the pole, take your spring clamp, clamp it over the end, and then, like I said, depending on the length of your background, is going to determine the amount of clips that you're going to use. Okay, like that. So that's it's pretty simple, and it's these clamps hold these things remarkably well on there, no trouble. But I got these double-ended hooks. I'm going to show you from this end. I got these double-ended hooks, so you can just unhook the pole from the chain, thread on your paper, bring it back over, and hook it back on. Pretty simple and fast. Now if somebody like me, if you have a tall subject, you can't obviously have the background only at this height. So that's why I got the lengths of chain. You can come over and raise the background easily. If you're tall, you might need a ladder if you're not so tall. But literally, I mean, this has taken me, I don't know, 10 seconds. I'm guessing I'm at about the same height. You'd want to check and see. You don't want your background on level. And you could run that all the way up to the ceiling if you needed, depending on how wide or what your subject matter is. But right now I guess that's about 7 and maybe a little more than 7 feet where it's at. 8 foot would be at my ceiling, one of my ceiling heights, and then I actually have a recessed ceiling that's a little bit taller than that. But I'm gonna go over now the components with some close-ups and show you exactly how I created this hanging backdrop holder. Okay, so here's a lot closer look at what I was talking about. This is the JB Weld. I just mixed up a tube of the JB Weld and smeared it all over both components, and then put the end cap, what that's called, on there, and held it with some tape while it dried. Now you do have to keep in mind that these hooks, or these where the clip is connected there, are directional. So you have to make sure that both sides are both facing the same direction. It's very important, or you're going to be twisted when you're trying to hook your hooks. For mine, I made a simple little 2-sided hook system, like a dog leash clip, so that I can hook onto the rod here and hook onto the chain and change to different angles. Now I got a chain that was rated for about 100 pounds. It's just a light duty chain. It was like $1 a foot or $1.50 a foot or something. And then I'm holding it all together there at the top with some little hooks into the ceiling there. And I'll speak more on that in just a second. Okay, now that you've seen a little bit about the construction of the hanging backdrop holder, I'm calling it, I want to throw out a safety warning. Something that I wanted to make sure you consider before doing this is that if you're going to run anything that's hanging from your ceiling, you must make sure that your hooks are actually going into something that's wood, not just hanging from your drywall. They do make anchors at the local store that say they'll carry 100 or 150 pounds even of weight, but those are not vertical loads. Those are horizontal load when you're screwing into a wall and you got your fastener like this and your weight's pulling down on it. When you got your fastener into the ceiling and you got the weight pulling straight down on it, it doesn't take a whole lot to rip out that little bit of drywall and for something like this to come crashing down and possibly hurt somebody even severely. So I mean, if you got this, your background draped down onto the ground, maybe you're doing a high key or whatever, you're doing a full length and you got your backdrop underneath your subject, and they're walking around and they're getting too close to the back because they're kids and they're playing, and even if they run into the thing and they're standing on it, you want this to be able to hold the weight of that and not have any chance of it ripping down out of the ceiling. And so do take special precaution that you do screw into a floor joist or ceiling joist or whatever's above you some type of wood backing so that you don't have any danger of that. Just another quick note, altogether I got $27, just under $27 invested in the chain, the hooks, the end caps, the fence post, 4 2-inch spring clamps, 6 little clamps for tensioning the side of the backdrop, and the JB weld. So everything you see here minus my backdrop is under $27. It took me less than an hour to assemble everything. That includes cutting the pipe, taking off that tapered end because the end cap won't weld onto that tapered end. It's just 2 different sizes, and quite functional. Like I said, I can use this on a 10 by 20 backdrop, a small backdrop, anything. A roll of paper, a short 53-inch roll, a 107-inch roll. You can clamp lights or something right to this. If you wanted to put your background lights on it, or maybe even a hair light, you could clamp it onto the pole and direct it. The pole actually will only twist a little bit. Once you have the background on there, it really doesn't twist at all, because then it tensions it. And if you balance your light so that it's not pulling, so that it's balanced halfway decent in the center, you don't have any trouble with that. I've been real happy with it. If you got any comments or questions, feel free to leave one at the bottom. I'd love some feedback, any ideas that maybe you've had and something you've created. I'm always thinking or trying to think of new things to make my life here in the home studio easier. So thanks for watching. I hope this was informative for you, and have a good day.